Get hyped. We live. All right. Get these posted to socials real quick. For YouTube. Pin that. So close to 2K. 55. 55 more subs. Oh. Sore from all that sitting. All day long. What's up, little wolf? Welcome in, man. You had a good weekend, had a good Monday. Okay. We are good. I think. Get this. Need my inspiration photos. If they'll load. A handful of things. I'm not really sure what we're going to work on. I have a couple ideas I want to mess with. Had a new idea. Have some other stuff I was already working on. All right. So, let's get our bearings. So we were working on the market. I got some stuff I want to do on this tonight. I did a little bit of messing around with things I want to do. Or might want to do. Not sure yet. Testing ideas. Grounded, let's go. What's up, actually happy? Are you actually happy? Or are you just saying that? I also, very, very small detail, but I raised these up one, or a half block, just to make a little more detail in it. I thought that was a nice little addition. Just enough to differentiate it, but honestly looks exactly the same almost. I also did this and added in this little window, which I might do on the other side. I'm not sure yet. Pretend you are something for long enough and eventually you will become it. Dude, that's not wrong. Life is perspective. Ain't that the truth? Anything's true if you tell yourself it long enough. That's very true. You tell yourself you suck for a long time, you're going to think you suck, even if you don't. All right, let's work on this some more. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, let me know if you haven't seen anything or you want to see something specific. I would say the inspiration started off with King's Landing from Game of Thrones. That's sort of where it's each individual thing, like building, is inspired by something else. Completely just random images that I found that I like. But the overall sort of city started with the idea of Game of Thrones being like a big tiered castle, or King's Landing, sorry, in Game of Thrones. A tiered castle, a cool building, church, great hall thing off to the side. It also was just like, let's rebuild the sandcastle was the idea behind it originally. So I just covered that and then slowly made details of everything. A wizard's tower, the great hall, which isn't totally done. A supporters temple for people who subscribe to the channel to get their name in a chest. An observatory I found randomly. This was based off of someone's playground build that they made. The temple is just based off of the Pantheon. Just a temple, and I wanted to use these cool columns. This is based off of the Sept of Baelor from Game of Thrones as well. That was kind of the inspiration behind this one, which is sort of how King's Landing has a big castle, and then directly across it from the other side of the city is this cathedral thing. And then the rest of it is just we just kind of make it happen. It's always some random image I find off the internet that gets me inspired to make something else. This is probably one of my favorite builds so far, though. Sept turned out really good. The rest of it's just like city now. I'm sort of looking at King's Landing as like, hey, there's a big church building roughly off to the side, and there's a big housing district, and then this is the bathhouse hot tub thing that someone made this little detail, and I kind of made it my own, and then turned it into my own building, and thought King's Landing or old school like historic cities would have bathhouses or brothels or whatever, and the hot tubs felt like a great mix for this kind of oasis space as we went. And then we're working on a market currently, so this is a big like semi-covered, semi-outdoor market space. Someone built their own version of something in the pot, and I liked it so much I had to do something with it since it made sense. If you incorporated the cactuses and succulents into your landscape, yeah, where I could. This build, that's part of the reason it's one of my favorites, is because of the way those worked out so well. And like little bits show through. I mean, some of them are sticking through walls and stuff, but I was really happy with this one specifically. Same with how this utilizes the planting and stuff. Kind of made my own little planters and garden. It's the pot palace is what we call it. Fantasy cities and sandbox games are always cool. I'm having a lot of fun with it. This has been a really, really fun build. I have another massive base over in the pagoda, but that's just my like actual base where all my stuff is. I've sort of turned this into one, but I ended up making this recently as well, which is my sort of library design storage area. And it's got my hole for my handy net. And this is a totally random building. Doesn't necessarily have to do anything with Game of Thrones, but I found a cool image that I liked and wanted to mess with it. So this was really cool. And I have no clue what this is based off of. I just found it. Or just started making it on one of these, like, I found like a colonnade, and I was like, maybe that's a good idea. Yeah, as long as it fits in, it rocks. That's how it feels. I guess I didn't show the inside of the temple. That's a cool thing, too. This is just a barracks for, like, training. So there'll be, like, dummies. This is a little armory. And then there's a, you can drop down into it like a fireman's hole. And you get the bug mount barn. So you can, like, get all your bug mounts and stuff down here. And then fly out of here. Send it. Nothing crazy here. There's nothing on the inside really yet, but it's a cool little building. It's fun. I'm slowly finishing the outsides of everything, and then because I was having some memory issues, I think I've solved, but there was so much in this world it was starting to crash. So I'm trying to do all the exterior design, and then I'll start adding stuff to the inside for as long as I can. This was a crazy build. The amount of ash cement in this thing is bonkers. Used lots. Each one of these is a quarter block. It's a really cool tiled floor, though. And then these are just the blueprints without the grub hide built. These were a fun little detail because they look like light bulbs, but they don't actually emit light. Yeah, they are the bane. It was rough. I think I fixed it. The issue was I had weed stem, like stem flooring, because I have this whole wall around the whole thing, and like here where there's stem floors, I had that blueprinted around the entire thing, like all the way around. It like this deep, what, like 5 or 6 floors deep, at least this far. So it was the insane amount of blueprints that I had in my world was the issue, I think. From a little bit of experimenting, it seems like blueprints are very heavy on the memory usage, because that made a huge difference. Because my game was crashing like every time. Then we built the observatory thing. I changed some stuff around. I built this whole thing, all of this, and we're building all of this. And I finished a bunch of other stuff too, little things. I think we've solved it. I think we'll be able to build for a while. Now, that's the hope at least. What's up, Oozin? Welcome in, man. It's sad. I was supposed to show one of the viewers Luderav tonight something, but I didn't get started till so late. My son did not want to go to bed. Not even a little. He fought it hard. Don't need to build these right now, but spent a bunch of time this weekend collecting lint and burrs and pine cones and stuff because I was getting real low. And we're using an insane amount right now. I've also been messing with how to make like little shopping stalls and stuff. Little market spaces. I'm not totally sure yet. I'm messing with the crow things, just seeing how I can lay them out, how I can move counters around. I also moved... These were like this. I stepped them back one to get a little bit more space in here, since I had just enough room to add one extra layer out here. I was like, might as well. Gonna make the inside look better. And then I forgot. The idea I had was to use, I forgot ages ago. If you look up the Sept of Baylor, there's like the little triangular flags like on a string or on a line. And they had them like going all the way down from these upper portions. And unfortunately, the way the hand railings work in the game, they don't let you, they have to be supported, which is kind of lame because I have it set to where I shouldn't have to, but like they don't support themselves, which unfortunately ruined my idea because I don't want anything underneath them. Even though you can like do that with a stair, you can't do this with a hand railing for some unforeseen reason. So I couldn't figure out how to do the streamer line things from that, but I did figure out that I can use them in this setup. So I'm gonna use these as sort of like, since this is like a marketplace, I'm thinking of it like these could be representations of like the fairy light sort of things, or like string lights. So I could put some sap sconces and stuff on these. It's a little weird to place, but I can hang lights from them, which I think will be pretty cool. Create some really cool images with that. And then also like the little flag sets that you typically see in like markets and stuff, just like things hanging from the rafters and kind of adding just random details. I also really like potentially using these, the Ant Queen chandeliers here as well. And I think they look really cool. I haven't really used them, and I think they actually will look really nice with these sort of streamer things that I'm messing with. Small details are what make the environment become alive. Yeah, that's where I've been really having a lot of fun recently. Like, I really enjoy the big builds, but it's when they get to the small details is when I have the most fun. And then when the insides, especially like this build, the outside's epic, but the inside is almost better. I love how this turned out, but the little details on the inside are like what send it over the top. The inside of this build is freaking awesome. And it's just the little tiny things, details in the floors, the little spaces, stuff on the walls. Just every little thing is what like makes these details so much cooler. So I've been having a lot of fun. Like I went from this like massive castle, massive thing, big thing. And then slowly we've been filling in all the little details and small spaces, which has made it like, it's coming to life finally. It was definitely cool before, but filling in all the gaps is making it so much cooler. What's up, Knife? Welcome in, man. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're doing well. I'm also going to be messing with some of these. And then Another fun build that I want to mess with a little bit. I'm trying to figure out if I have space for it, but I have the cathedral, which would be like in Game of Thrones where like ceremonies, weddings, whatever stuff happens. We have the Great Hall over there. The temple is more of like a specific thing that I just wanted to add. This is maybe a little church, but there's no, in Game of Thrones, they have the House of White and Black, or the House of the Many-Faced God. And it's just a weird, like, square building, but I actually really like the look of it. So I'm going to try to find, I've been messing with some stuff today in different areas, trying to figure out where I can add. I think this whole thing, like I like the size of this and then smaller houses around it. I don't want this to all be small houses. So I'm thinking maybe like here, somewhere in this space, there's a little bit of room over here I could use. And there's also a decent spot here that I might use. I'm also thinking these stairs are going to have to go as well. So I may have more room here to do it than I originally thought. So it could go here too, and then have small houses kind of messing around. I'm trying to figure out how this all works, but I really want to make this this detail to me is so, it's creepy. It's super creepy. Don't get me wrong. But if I could get like columns and faces to show up like this, I'm really interested in making that a thing. And so I was messing around with that today, which I think could make for a really interesting build with like armor dummies and stuff. I'm just not sure yet how it's going to work. Small spaces and tidbits like rubble and random things are always important as big shapes. Yeah. And then just using randomness to like cover up the stuff in the game that's currently there. I really like the sandbox. A lot of people ask me why I built here, and I really like it because I like that the sand almost makes its own terrain in its own space. And I love that it makes the whole city kind of look older and like it's dirty, it's not perfect. Sort of adds its own little detail to the whole thing and extra material, which is the same reason I built in the pagoda base, because I really liked that it like interacted with something already in the world. Even like small details like this that show up, like that's super random, but it's also kind of funny. Works well. Tried messing around with some medieval city generator thingies. No, I haven't actually. Sandbox is a great area for builds. You don't have to worry about grass, weeds, and the more rugged terrain. Yeah, I really like, and it just has its own natural, like most of this sort of follows the terrain of the whole sandbox. So it created the spatial layouts by itself, which I really enjoy. The infused antlions are an absolute terror. Antlions were the easiest thing to deal with before New Game Plus. Now they are not as easy. They are scary. They're not very fun to deal with anymore. This will be a massive great hall, so there'll be like big lines of tables and stuff throughout the whole thing, and we'll figure out how to make all that work as we go. And then we also have a crypt for all our pet bugs that were mercilessly slaughtered to get these headstones. And some of them were actually our pets that died originally. Yeah. Good old Timber. Passed away. I mean, these are the OGs. Actually, Timber should be there, shouldn't he? That would make way more sense, wouldn't it? I have 3 pets, I think, that died randomly. Lovely. Yep. It's funny because the channel's based off of my actual dog. And he is very much like a weevil. And this weevil clipped through the world and died. Pretty much just fell to its death. Do I have any others that have names? Don't think I do. I think those are still alive. Yeah. What if? Yeah, it was a sad day. But yeah, the weevil is the perfect embodiment of my lumbering, bumbling buffoon of a dog. He's great, but man, he's a doofus. If it ain't, it's Pedro. He was stuck on the bottom of the pond for like 5 months. They do that. annoyingly. They definitely do that. The real question here is going to be, what's too much? What's not enough? That's not right. This one. And I'm like, kind of have to work how they work, but they also stick through the top, but it's kind of is what it is. Collected a bunch of sprigs just for this. And suddenly he just teleported up. Yeah, they do have the recover bugs thing, which works like a quarter of the time. If that. The first Thursday of every month, it feels like. Definitely like this look. You're gonna be president, Dragon? I mean, at this rate, Jeremy hasn't been in like a week or so. He's gonna lose his supporters at this point. Who's gonna support a president who doesn't show up to stream? He did kind of just stumble into the job though, so. Yeah, as long as it has a reason. That is a good way to think about it, for sure. I definitely try to put a lot of thought behind each little thing I do. Definitely less is more, but at the same time, like, adding really good details that fit art make insane changes. Gotta head out? No worries, Knife. Good to see you, man. Hope you have a good rest of your night. Hope the new job's going well, too. Detail? Oh, detail stream. I was like, what? This is the detail I was talking about. That I was like, I feel like you'll enjoy this one. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use these as a random detail. But I'm kind of thinking of them as like either hanging light fixtures like this. Also is like the streamer flags that I feel like are in a lot of markets and like stuff hanging from the rafters and just like an extra little detail. And then I think I'm also going to use these chandeliers. They kind of fit the aesthetic. This is more for architecture, but with smaller things like that, you'd have to think more as an interior exterior designer. Yeah. Luckily for me, I've done a lot of interior and exterior design work for architecture firms. I get the best of both worlds. But the best architects and the best designers are the people that think in terms of both. Where the exterior informs the interior and the interior informs the exterior. And they both sort of mutually help each other. Because you can't have a cool exterior when the interior doesn't work. And you can't have a cool exterior. Can't have a cool interior if the exterior... No, it's... You can't have a cool exterior if it doesn't work and make a cool interior. You have to have one mutually supporting the other. So yes, you are right in one sense of it, but they do have to work together seamlessly to, like, feel successful. That one doesn't go there, I don't think. We're not in a position to backseat design. Oh. I don't think... I think everyone has good ideas and good concepts to add. Like, Luderav is the perfect example. I don't know of any necessary, like, design background he has, but he makes insane stuff. As good, if not better, than a lot of my stuff. All it takes is a bit of creativity. You don't necessarily have to be a designer of any kind to make cool stuff. I think it helps mentally in how quick you can build cool stuff, but I think anyone can make a cool design. saying is I should have been an architect. I mean, wouldn't help. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I'm gonna say it would help or it wouldn't hurt. You have to be a glutton for punishment to be an architect, though. It's one of those things. It's more than a labor of love. That's why I stopped working in a firm. Took away the fun. As much as I love architecture, working on stuff daily for ridiculous deadlines and crappy owners was demanding, to say the least. Yeah, the creativity coming out my wazoo. Yeah, seriously, though. That's what I'm saying. It just takes, like, an open mind to messing with stuff. I think as a designer and, like, an architect, I just have an easier time doing it quickly, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'd be better or more creative than any other person. I think these definitely are going to want to be lights. You can't even really tell that they're there. That's the great part. Effect is masochism. You heard it here? Yes. I mean, all of it is. Every, not even just corporate. Because in smaller firms, you work on crappier projects for little to no money, which is its own kind of masochism. You have a little more freedom to pick your clients and stuff, but also you don't. But working for big corporate companies also blows. It's a happy medium. It's a lot of fun when it's fun, though. Oh, yeah, Lude. Well, they're not the shop designs. They're just sort of shop designs. It's currently. Let's make a day. I worked at 100. It was between 70 and 100 people at any given time. I wouldn't say by any means it was corporate. But it was big enough that you got really cool projects to work on, and small enough that it wasn't run horribly until one owner left. And that was the end of it. That was the end of the cool culture, at least. Yeah, at one point they were up to 100. And then they dialed back quite a bit, though. I think the happy medium for them was like 70 something. Yeah, so these, I'm sort of like messing with everything. So first I bumped, everything was here. So I bumped, or I'm in the process of bumping these out one to just get, come on, a tad bit more space in here. Because I didn't feel like this was a big enough space for them. So then I'm messing with how I can do the crow feather awning things, but I haven't quite found exactly what I want to do. I'm messing with adding, just continuing more of the little streamer things, like stacking them. This one's all right. It's something about it just doesn't quite work yet is the issue. I'm not sure what it is, but because these are like the top roof pieces, kind of. I thought it'd be kind of cool on the inside. Tables are cool. They're a little short, though, but it's kind of difficult figuring out a good spot, so I'm not totally sure. Lots of cooks makes more messes. Yeah, definitely gonna be that way. I know. I like both. It's some combination currently. I don't know what the final thing's gonna be, but it's sort of starting to make sense. But I'm gonna do like 5 or 6 more tries. And the thing is, I think they're all gonna be totally different too. Like maybe there's every 3 or 4 there's a repeating pattern, but I definitely don't want it to be like the same thing over and over and over. I want it to feel like this was a structure that was built and people came into it and made it their own, like added their own little booth and their own little shop. They made their own little corner of it. And so each one is going to be, I think, sort of unique in its own way. It's just sort of figuring out how to make that and not kill myself, like, doing tons and tons of details. I already really like these hanging things, though. It's such a, like... I think what I liked about it is it's, like, elegant. It's very, like, light with these super heavy columns, which I'm a fan of. Yeah. I mean, it's just, like, the way I'm thinking about the whole city, like, housing districts in general, sort of haphazard and random, utilizing maybe similar concepts, but definitely not being just repetition in any way. Like your funny words, Magic Man. Funny, that's what my wife always makes fun of me for my vocabulary. I use big word, funny man. It's just how my brain works, you know. Big words is big good. Is funny just how my brain kind of thinks because of architecture school and all that stuff. You learn to talk out your butt a lot in architecture school. And so you just kind of spend your life talking like you know everything. I learned that I have to speak confidently about everything I talk about in school, so it was like, now I just automatically do it. Like I know what I'm talking about, even if I have no clue. Confidence is key, baby. Didn't start my new layout for the new village. Get it together, Ludorev. Because mine's not a city anymore compared to this size. Well, that's what we were talking about. Yours is like a... But yours isn't small. It's just the city or the village portion of it is small. The rest of the build's massive. Like, you can't say it's small. You just have less housing space. Because that thing's still massive in every way, shape, or form. Yours is average, maybe a little bigger than average. It's huge. It's huge. Question is, maybe do we do lights on the inside? Maybe. I also should think about more of that. I mean, I was kind of doing that, so that is the plan. The more the merrier. I do want some of this to be like into the shopping stuff a little bit as well. They'll go in their holes, but we'll see. Oh, that's perfect, actually. I really like that. That needs to happen more. But like kind of haphazard and random. It's because it doesn't have the triangle there. Interesting. That's why I didn't think of it here. And compensate. Yeah, less cityscape. Oh, it'll definitely get a tour. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce that name. I almost want these to feel like vines at the same time. Like, they're going to wear many hats of what they do and feel like. Definitely like the string lights for these portions, though. Lude does have a decent amount of verticality in that build. It's pretty nuts. There is a tour of that. Or is this a different city? This is the koi pond. The koi city or whatever, right? I didn't do a tour of that one, though. Pretty sure that was on See-Through's channel. Saw a content creator make a come with me on a trip to work video. It was insane. He went from what looked like ground floor and down to like 5 other times where you thought this surely has to be the ground, and it was real that it was like 20 plus force up. Dang. Yeah, the koi pond tour is pretty sick. Definitely check it out, because I can only imagine that it's even crazier and cooler now. It was cool before. Now it's only going to be better. Now we're getting to a point where I can actually make a decent thumbnail out of this as well. So that's always good. I started messing with it earlier today when I had a little time, and I was like, this needs way more detail to look cool in a picture. I think I just need the pheromone, right? Yeah. I think those are the ones I want to build. Like, these ones are really cool, but I don't think... I like that the red one has the correct coloring to match that stuff. But, like, these are so cool. Oh, it's hard. I don't know. Got a crash, I'll be lurking, just want to pop in and say hi. Sounds good, man. You saw the detail I wanted you to see, so now you get to go run wild with it. Oh, before you do that, holy cow, 4K. That's a lot of science. I did mess with the thing we were talking about with the House of Many Faces or whatever. I not have the ant pheromone in here? I'll use it in my inventory. So so you can do this. So you could sort of hide the head in there a bit, and then, I mean, naturally it's not going to look exactly. Got to work with what you got, but could be something like this. It also, I figured out, which I guess we have to see what this feels like. And it could work, you know? It could work. It ain't perfect, but then you just kind of continue it. Put a floor there. And then do another one. The question is, how well will this work? Pretty replicatable though, so it's not perfect. They're a little small, but I also figured out you can do this, which I don't think I've done before, is these little guys sit on the columns. So you could almost do, instead of the House of Heads, you could like fill this in at each level and then do something like this. And that's sort of the same vibe, right? So I'm thinking it might be, that's like 10 trillion ever charcoal chunks. So that part, but it like spatially fits the same theming that the House of, oh, why can't I think of this? The many-faced gods. Yeah, there you go. Could put him in a pose and slide him to duck to hide. Yeah, that would work too. I'll have to mess with that as well. These just sit so well, but maybe if we did an armor dummy, change his, yeah, the sit one. What? Probably has to be the squat. Wonder if this does something similar. Yeah. If you could get them to sit there, to have different masks or helmets on the head to make some noise. Yeah. That was my original thought. The only thing I like about this is that the spacing is more correct for what I want to do. And that would be, I'm thinking here or over on the other side of this thing, somewhere over there. Just definitely not a huge building, but something interesting. The scary part about this is so much Everchar. Like, so much. It hurts. You can also do this. Could put him in a pose. I may play with that to get you the slide numbers to the correctness. You definitely have more skills than I have when it comes to messing with these. You are the pose master. If I could get him to sit in the middle, though, that would be a perfect world. There's always a chance that something works randomly, but never quite know. I guess that's the other side of it, is I could just do... Doesn't have to be... Could be like this. So could do it like that. That's a little less interesting, but it's an option. Lots of practice, that's for sure. I don't know. There's a couple different things we could do. I'm leaning towards something here, but if this can be figured out, then I'm definitely not opposed, because the dummies would be more interesting for sure. Especially with like a bunch of different armor sets on them to like the mini faces would be an interesting way to do it. I'm building this in like the wrong thing. I should just built this over on the other side, but I mean it gets the concept across. Could also be skip a level each time. Like do... Yeah, the only thing I don't like is that this feels so thin, but probably the way to go. They really need to feel like close to get the right effect that I'm going for, or else it's not really worth it. Both of those are decent options, though. I guess the nice thing is I could still, instead of putting that behind, I could put columns behind still. Like that, and give it a little more detail. That's an option. I wish they interacted with the columns better, though. It's so close. They just sat in the middle there, it would probably be perfect. Hard to say. Sounds good. I'm excited to see your ideas. The idea's there. I don't know. When I looked up that picture and I was messing with it earlier, I was like, this... If that could be made, it would be really cool. Because I thoroughly enjoy making weird stuff like that just because I can. And it feels like this build needs one more building about this size. I don't think just tons of housing throughout here is going to be the way I want to go. So I'm liking the idea of it potentially here. It even could like come down into this space as well and like utilize, I don't know, some stuff underneath. Something like that. Not sure how it fits over here. Just have to be on the side, which could look really cool, might not. I kind of like that this sort of is a weird juxtaposition to the building here. Hard to say. Welcome in from Vietnam. I don't even think I'm going to attempt trying to say your name there. In hopes of not sounding like an absolute moron. But welcome in. Hope you're having a good day. We're currently just building in NG+6. Testing out some fun ideas, working on stuff. Why'd that go through the floor? It's doable, I'm convinced. All right. Well, hopefully you find a way to make it sit on the columns there, because then that would be perfect. But the right position would look really cool. See, like, I love how this looks, but just on a smaller scale, I think it would look really interesting. There's a world where something works. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly that as well. I'm all right with switching things up. Okay. Now I have to get back in the, like, mentality of building this. I was on a roll last stream. But now I gotta, like, completely remember how this thing goes. Each little portion is its own little struggle to remember. I think I'm gonna need to be heading out. Sounds good, Happy. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great rest of your night. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one. I always suggest, if you're not part of the Discord, joining there if you want to see stuff, other people's builds. A bunch of people post cool stuff in there. Cool place to ask questions about design and building and anything grounded. There's also other build channels for other games as well that people can chat about if they like mega building. Or just in general. Doesn't have to be anything specific. But there's a lot of cool, really cool base photos in there. Otherwise, have a great rest of your night. Okay. A little bit of this. Ooh. Fill this gap. Then get these in. So many random little details. Keep building the outside. This. Yeah. Good. Hopefully we can get most of the way through this tonight. That would feel very good. Then I could just start working on the inside and letting things really come together. Little by little. That's how you get there. Actually, I forgot. These have to be 3 now. Just on the outside, though. Okay. Slowly remembering how these things went together. Also have to check and see. Might be worth doing Brawny Boy Ben or something. Oh, we did that already, didn't we? I haven't done the stump lab, though. Be nice to get that out of the way. Not that I'm actually, like, going to another New Game Plus. Feels good to just have stuff done. It's always good to take a couple minutes of a mental break as well. In between stuff. Should be like that. I'm quite happy with how this has turned out, though. For a very spur-of-the-moment build, I just kind of was like, what if we did this? Come along really quick. I feel like I keep saying that about builds, though. They just keep coming along quicker and quicker. I'm like an old fart. My wife's doomed. I'm just going to be repeating myself forever. The best part about new people in stream every day is if I repeat myself 100 times, half of them haven't heard it yet. Is that all good? I think so. Just fill in those walls is all. That's what's missing, duh. Thought something looked like it was off. There's a lot of little stuff in this build. Did I also fill something in earlier? I did something. Was it just on this side? Maybe it was just on this side. Yeah, it was. And I finished it. Never mind. I'm losing it. Should get all of these pushed out tonight as well. Or at least most of them. Once those are out of the way, it's going to be way easier to get this thing, the insides built quickly at least. Didn't even need to move that, did I? Actually, those go away, don't they? Just needs to be these. Oh, nice. Get to save a little material. Woo. How efficient. Which I don't think... this does go across, actually. That's fine. That's totally fine. I don't even necessarily need all of this, but I kind of do. It's cleaner this way. I do want some of it to feel covered. Not necessarily worried about what the backside here looks like. Which is a good thing. Went to ham, built this with before I moved it. I'm gonna have to mess with this later too. I'm really interested in this little idea now. That's starting to look really interesting. That looks super cool. Maybe it's a combination as well. Who knows? And if you didn't know, I am the king of ADHD building, which is why we're hopping around all over the place. Kind of just how my brain works. Didn't mean to build that. A shelf could make sense. It also doesn't. I don't know. Part of the fun part about these is I'm going to do like vendors of every type of thing I can think of. So I was thinking like you have a vendor for woodworking and we'd have a vendor for pottery. That's where we have to adjust some of these stalls to fit the aesthetic better. One's going to be selling like head mounts. Maybe some little bugs or something. A lot of little things we could make work. One could be selling food, making smoothies. Little restaurant type things. Just all sorts of randomness. Don't know if I need that though. It's just extra detail for nothing. I think there's going to be plenty of random stuff to make these look cool that I don't necessarily need to worry about. Adding shelves with more random stuff on it. But you never know. It's always a possibility, I would say. Crazy part about this build is this is going to add so many items to this area. This is where we hope we don't start crashing and stuff. Because it could get crazy really. It could get really out of hand really fast with what I'm planning on putting in these spaces. You can already see, I mean, like these little targets, like all sorts of little just knickknacks and stuff. Many things. It's currently the idea. And then the real question, how this all connects. That is going to be an interesting one. What a waste of a piece. Actually, some of this might change, so I'm going to leave that for now. Luckily, these things are every 2 full floors, so that makes that really easy to lay out real quick. Might as well just do each one. And the outer has 3. Have to remember that. Perfect. Trying to crush through this thing. There's so many details that I want to start adding to all of these builds. Like the sooner we get them done, the more ridiculous this whole thing's going to start looking. I also really would like to get a base tour done soon here. Because I still have yet... I mean, there's tons of streams of each of these builds currently. But I have, like, no footage of anything built in the sandcastle currently. There's very little on my channel in terms of it, which is probably the wrong way to be doing it. I probably should have been doing updated base tours of this pretty consistently, the way I was doing the pagoda one, because those have all done really well. Between the original base tour I did on See-Through's channel and then the base tours I've done, we've got over 200-something thousand views. This seems like a good idea to make another video here soon. No need to waste the potential of all this. And I think a lot of people prefer seeing some of the smaller details that I don't really get to show off in streams as well. There's a lot of details that can't really be seen when I'm just flying around in the handy net, unless I go like specifically show each thing. Oh, wait. Oh, it is the same. What? Oh, because it steps back up. Duh, duh, duh. Yep. I know what I'm doing. This actually ties into this really well. I could also lift this last one and make it go over. And then just square this thing out almost. This is going to be hard, though. You can't build here, so that's going to be the difficult part. But this wouldn't suck as like a cool little archway that went over and then continued these things. That's a good idea. That seems like worth the effort there. Yeah. I was a bit worried how this whole thing was going to tie into this other build here, but I think that's actually going to work pretty well. Quite well. Happy mistakes, you know? That right? Yeah. Oh. This makes it a little easier getting these all filled in. Then visually it actually looks like it's connecting properly. Once I remember how it goes together, this comes together very quickly. Thank goodness. Let's think about that before we go crazy. Don't want to get too carried away and build something wrong and then have to undo it. But I love the cathartic nature of doing just super repetitive build work like this at times. It's pretty relaxing. The design phases can always be a little bit of a struggle, but once you get to just build for a little while. That's why symmetry is always pretty heavy aspect of a lot of my builds. It simplifies many things. Let's get these done. And then we'll make it day so I can actually see. The one struggle of a bit too, or turning the day rate up to a bit too high is it's dark so fast. But is it nice to get more resources? Double-edged sword, honestly. Okay. Same thing on the outside. And Luderav, if you need some motivation to work on that House of the Many-Faced God stuff, feel free to have some of my energy drink that I didn't get to drink very much of. Because I'm wired right now. I forgot I could even have this much energy. Oops. Yeah, this will be interesting. Could do this. Would sort of work. We then went that. It's not very centered though, so it would need to go. Jeez. There's too many snap grids going on here. For anyone that's curious why these are being very weird, there are multiple grids in this area. Dang it. So it is a bit difficult to get things placed properly. Wait. What is that? I love random things like this when this happens. Always gives me little ideas. You never quite know what's gonna look cool. I'm pressing the wrong button. Weird. Build. Oh man, if this was ash cement, I could make this look so cool. I don't know. There could be something here to tie this whole thing together. I'm not sure yet, but I like where we're heading. I think I can tie that in really well. It's a little weird having the market enter my main castle, but at the same time, whatever. I think it'll work fine. Alright, so let's fill these corn. Perfect. I love when two builds that are on different grids come together. It always ends up looking super cool. That like game breaking aspect. It ends up looking really, really cool. It looks like you're doing something that you're not able to do. I also am realizing I haven't eaten dinner yet. I ate a super late lunch. I wasn't really hungry. Okay, now we can get the cross things going. Man, I should have been building like this. This whole time. I was doing the entire thing bit by bit last time, like each arch setup, and I like the way this comes together a little bit better. the repetitiveness is a bit easier to just quickly bust through. Get that thing out of here. One of these. Yep. I have got to remember to adjust my autosave times. Drives me crazy, the FPS drop I get because of all the autosaves. It's like I want them because if my game randomly crashes, but lag. I already have enough FPS issues with these crazy builds. Do one. Get the. Whew, my back. I've been standing while streaming every time, but these last handful of streams. It's a workout, though, which is a problem. Shouldn't be a workout, just stand in place. These in. At some point, I'm going to have to make a staircase as well. But we'll have to figure out how we're going to get on top here. That could be on the other side, though. Since this is going to go all the way... Maybe not all the way to the Pot Palace, but close. Close enough, I think. Which, since there's already a set of stairs there, probably perfect for that. Tends to be where I already have a raise in elevation somewhere. That's probably where I'm gonna... It's best to just work with it instead of adding a weird set of stairs somewhere. But I could make a really cool set of stairs right in the center as well. So there is that. We don't have a ton of mushrooms left. 1.6k seems like a lot, but it goes really fast. Way too fast, typically. Especially with a build like this. This uses just an insane amount of mushrooms. I still have lots, but I just need to process all of them at this point, is really it. Okay, that's right. Trying to super speed build this. What's up, zombies? How's it going? Long time no see. And keeping an eye on your ridiculous pyramid. Have been seeing that. Continues across 2. Thing is getting nuts. Absolutely bonkers. Love to see it. How are we doing on Pinecone? Oh, not bad. All the collecting was worth it. Yeah, that's correct. Bit of a quiet Monday night, but no worries. Does allow me to just kind of crank and get stuff done. Which always feels nice to get a lot done in a single night. Short off tomorrow? Dang. Yeah, the images are like, it's just so big, it's like hard to even picture. Like the images are almost difficult to look at. Definitely don't get the full scale of it in the images. I always feel like the big builds are like really hard to like properly show off the scale, especially with like the handinat. Like this stuff, this is a massive build, but it looks so much bigger down in the street levels, like running around as one of the teens. It's like, that doesn't look like that big of a window, but then you're like, the teen is like this tall. And you're like, this place is huge. You really get the scale of things walking around and doing like the tours of it. Good to hear it's coming together, though. Love to see more people building. Especially massive, giant, crazy big things like that, too. Ain't enough mega builders in this game currently. There never was enough for how good it is. Huge but kind of lame when it's still being built. Yeah, that's always everything. Like as you get the details and stuff done, it just gets better and better. But yeah, I definitely know the feeling of like a lot of my builds are that way where, I mean, I think to other people they're probably way more interesting and cooler, but to me when I'm looking at them, they start off, it's like, this is pretty boring, like this is cool, but it doesn't become really interesting to me till like stuff like this starts getting added and I start adding in the details, the same as all of this stuff. None of this stuff, like that wasn't interesting. The temple, the temple thing, like it wasn't interesting until all the details. It was super repetitive and boring. This thing started to get cooler, but like I don't really think I liked this build until I got the roof started. Once I got the roof going, that like made my imagination explode. This build was really boring until the inside got done. As soon as the inside started going, it was like, dude, this is one of my favorite things now. Easily one of my favorite builds. Although I keep saying that about everything, because this is quickly becoming a really interesting build as well. The more I build, the more I like the thing as a whole, I think is what it really comes down to. It was also way less interesting building the cathedral because there was just nothing around it. It already looks even more interesting like in thumbnails and stuff because there's so many cool little details around it now. And as we keep kind of continually filling those in, it's just going to get better and better, which is very exciting. It's definitely getting there. My imagination is definitely exploding as of late, which is really nice. The nice thing is in terms of the scale I work in, these are they're still large scale projects, but they're just a little less than my typical builds have been. Just getting the like massive portions of these builds done, and that has made it a lot easier to build like quickly. Pyramid was just frame, the inside was to be your sandbox. Yeah, you'll it's the nice thing is that you'll never like run out of stuff to do. It's daunting, but as soon as you get going and you see that like the visions start coming together, it gets really exciting. That's when I'm like super hyped about stuff. Every build tends to work that way for me, is it's like the more and more I build, the better and better every little thing gets. And as the like picture as a whole comes together, it will absolutely explode your creativity. Definitely want to keep those kind of the same. I'll fix that one still. What's up, Franklin? How's it going? You're having a good day. Good night, whatever time it is. You've joined a riveting stream. It's a good one. We're just kind of building this new little marketplace thing out. Little by little. That's why I did that. My monitor mount, when I move my sit-stand desk up any further, hits the ceiling. That's why I stopped doing that. Lovely. I guess we can just get this built real quick. I'll move the inside in a minute. Actually, it's just going to be easier to move it from out here. Perfect. Let me in there. Those are extra. I swear I filled all of these. $10:30 here. Nice. Yeah, 9:30 here. Finally, someone on a closer to my time zone. Too many people from the Midwest or the East Coast that it's hard to tune in. Streams are always perfect timing for a night cup of coffee and a chill break. With Benjamin to wind down. Nice. Coffee at 10:30? I mean, I say that like I don't have an energy drink here, but that was more of an accident because I opened it and then needed to put my son down and then kind of forgot about it and just didn't feel like wasting it. So I'm just drinking it for no reason now. Trying to be hyped for stream, you know, but also saying hello to Benjamin as well at the same time. Definitely chill vibes tonight. Nothing too crazy. Especially with this like super repetitive stuff. It's definitely not like we ain't going crazy or anything. Dude. Go in your home. Word. What's up, Gary? Welcome in, man. Hope you're having a good one. Like that perfect mix of caffeine and mellow. That is true. Maybe that's what it is for me. I don't know. Without a bit of caffeine, though, I'd be asleep. So I definitely have to have some. The energy drink is probably the overkill tonight. A cup of coffee would be more chill. But here we are. How old is your boy? He is 18 months. Gosh, almost 19 months. Holy cow. So a year and a half-ish. Birthday's in March. Just crazy. Very crazy. At a very, very fun age right now, though. Walking finally, which is its own level of chaos, but also is the funniest thing ever. Got a very fun personality. Couldn't be here from the start of the stream because my power went out. No worries. Yeah, Little Timber builds. That's the hope, right? One day I'm gonna have to do like a playthrough with them of Grounded. And then in Grounded 2, we can play together, build everything. Too dark, I can't see. Luckily, you didn't miss too much of the stream, Gary. Been live for an hour, but just doing more or less this repetitive thing over and over. Spent the first bit of stream showing someone around the whole thing, the whole base, so. Actually forgot to even show them the pagoda base. Silly me. 2 Timbers builds, right? Can the world handle that much mega building? That's the question. Does run in the family. My dad was an architect, so that's why I got into architecture. My brother's not into architecture, but he is pretty dang creative. He does like modeling and sculpting and stuff. All sorts of randomness, honestly. He does all sorts of weird builds and painting. Many things. Those almost went to the right spot. Good thing I collected more pine cones recently. Servers will crash. probably true. And if there's 2 people on this world, think of how quickly it would fill up. I already had problems with crashing. Like, it's only going to get worse. The hope is that Grounded 2 can handle that much. If and when. Unlikely we do any of this here. Let's just, whatever. Dang it. This is the one and only time first person's nice. Otherwise, I hate it. It really would. Grounded 2 would be life-changing. Not only would it be an amazing game, getting to play Grounded 2 with all the experience I currently have, ugh. So much better at content creation and stuff as well at this point. Like, just mega building from the start would be so cool. All the way through early access and everything. See how crazy we can get. Would make me a very, very happy person to have Grounded 2. Be a long way off, but the world needs it, honestly. I would take anything. I would literally take any amount of Grounded 2. I don't even care. Whatever it is, I'll take it. As long as it has built-in replayability from earlier on, I'm all about it. Honestly, from not the start, but the biggest thing Grounded needed for the longest time was the replayability. The graphics aspect, I love the cartoon stuff, but it would be sick with a lot of pre-shrink story. I mean, my favorite thing is the like art style of this game. I have never been a very big fan of the like Rust, Daisy. The mechanics might be great, but I don't enjoy the like wants to be real but doesn't actually look real aesthetic. I think what makes building so cool is that these materials and stuff are just so unique and interesting. Even like I'm really interested in the building and Enshrouded because of the mechanics, but honestly, like visually, the game is not the most like stunning of games. It is and it isn't. It's really hard to get that like realism aspect like done successfully. It's really easy to go wrong, and then it just looks like RuneScape. It's like half the reason I haven't played some of the other survival games out there. I really just enjoy the like unique art styles of games. I think that's like a huge reason why I really like Subnautica. Didn't try to do... It did its own thing from the very beginning. And it's freaking gorgeous because of it. One of those games that just looks incredible. Never played a game this long other than Astroneer. It's a good sign. I played a lot of games for a really long time, but I don't think I've done it to this level ever. Like, this has been a different level of extreme amounts of gameplay. Back in like high school and stuff, I probably had 30 plus days in every Call of Duty for a really, really long time. So I definitely have played games for really long times, but I've never played a single player game this much. Played a lot of Skyrim, but even then, like, doesn't equate to anywhere close to this amount of hours. I think Steam says we're at like 3K. Or very close to it. I played a lot of Minecraft back in the day as well, but nowhere near as much as this. Diablo 3, I probably had... Man, I wish I knew the exact hours. I played a lot of Diablo 3. Lots and lots and lots. So there is that. But again, that's sort of a game that's meant to do that. Very few like single player story games are able to have like this much replayability. Unless it's Minecraft. See if I missed anything. Yeah, that. Definitely want to get those done. $200 in Skyrim Elder Scrolls game is easy, but yeah. Like, I've done multiple 100% runs on Skyrim and multiple playthroughs and classes and tried dang near everything you can do. And just done it again with my favorite builds and stuff too. Like, it's a very good game, but yeah, doesn't equate quite the same amount of hours. I've always enjoyed building in games, and I mean, like Halo, I have hundreds and hundreds of hours in Halo as well. Halo 3 and stuff, but especially like in Forge, I spent a lot of time in Forge and Halo. Going nuts. Building crazy racetracks and all sorts of fun stuff. But Subnautica is the same way. I have a ton of Subnautica I built in for a really long time, but still just nowhere near as much. And I've done multiple playthroughs of Subnautica as well, where I rebuild bases and do things. I think that other than Minecraft, that was one of my first like favorite mega building games. As funny as some people don't see Subnautica for a mega building game necessarily, but just games with a good art style, like a unique, interesting art style, absolutely hook me in when it comes to building. I definitely enjoyed the like fantasy side of building games. And just making things look cool. Not do that on any of these. That's fine. Saves a lot of burr not doing it like that, which I'm okay with. Fill in all these random holes. It's easier to make sure I'm not missing anything that way. Other than that piece not wanting to place, get one of these in here. Sometimes that works. I'm sure they'll want to place tomorrow or the next day. We'll get it eventually. It always seems to work. Just takes some time. Lots of trial and error. And eventually Grounded just says, this guy's never going to give up. I'm just going to stop trying. I think this would want to raise. It's going to do this. Similar to how I did. I'm going to be doing the levels down here. They're going to go up higher. Currently the plan, at least. It's a little weird here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Get out of my base, dude. The dang bees. I'd love it if Lego made a game where it's just blocks and no limits, unlimited blocks, just buy the game and craft. Dude, I'm telling you right now, the biggest, absolutely biggest, stupidest fail was Lego Survival. That game has all the potential to be the coolest building game for like any age. I was so freaking excited about Lego, and they ruined it instantly. I mean, they couldn't have done a worse job with coming up with how they were going to do that. They was immediately just ridiculously greedy, just like microtransaction BS. Oh, you want more blocks? Like, buy it. You have to buy the new sets to get the new blocks and stuff. Like, any amount of purchasing the Legos like was so stupid. Absolutely no reason. You could do skins, you can do all those things if you want, but to buy the like building blocks of a Lego game is ridiculous to me. So dumb. And then the fact that the game like had such a bad build limit, like you barely were able to build anything before you hit the build limit, and it wouldn't let you build anymore. Which is crazy to me that that's even remotely a thing. Like the fact that you can't build forever in a Lego game is like, what? What are people smoking? That Lego Fortnite is like the perfect definition of how to instantly do everything wrong. I'm sure it'll still probably do fine for a long time because people are simps and will buy anything, but I am so disappointed in Lego Fortnite. So disappointed. It seriously had the potential to be so good. I started building and I was like, this is really interesting. Like, I'm kind of having fun. And then I hit the build limit within a couple days and I was like, okay, well, that's literally ruins everything. And then I saw the microtransactions. So I was like, yep, I want nothing to do with this now. Absolutely nothing. Quite unfortunate, but it's what it is, I guess. This is a little idea I'm messing with for some other builds. Yeah, I can't believe they instantly went for the microtransactions on like base building parts. Like, wow, really? Just right out of the blocks. You release the base thing and then you instantly add in the coolest part of the game is ruined because you have to pay to it for it. And it has, like, it had the potential to rival Minecraft, in my opinion, because Lego has everything in the universe. It's got Star Wars, it's got Harry Potter, it's got just castles and mountains and flowers and just everything you could think of. It literally has endless possibilities in the same way that Minecraft has, but with this, like, nostalgic ability, because everyone loves Legos. Like, so many people grew up with them and love them to death that it's like an instant attraction point to the game. Like, it had all the potential to just endlessly be added to. Make weird bosses and monsters and fights and just endlessly go. And I'm like, how do you screw up? Like, out of just the corporate greed of these stupid game companies now, instead of having Minecraft levels of success, you just ruin it instantly. I'm sure there's still a lot of people that play it and enjoy it, but... And the fact that you had, like, vehicles and everything, like, automatically built in, like, it had everything. It had the potential for everything. But I will never pay for base pieces. Lego's already stupidly expensive as it is for plastic. In no way, shape, or form do they need to make billions of dollars off of that game. They could have satisfied for the coolest Lego game ever known to mankind. And it could have fed off of their other franchises as well, being like all the different Lego games. Like, it could have just endlessly fed off of that. So close, but so far. I'll never understand that mentality from companies. Like, the only place I'm totally okay with it is like Valorant and League of Legends, because they offer nothing. And in no way, shape, or form do you have to buy skins for your weapon. No way, shape, or form do you have to do any of it. It is not required to win the games. It is not required to, like, level up. You can pay to get levels if you want, but it does nothing to the, like, gameplay of everyone else. Everyone still, with the base Vandal and the base weaponry, can succeed and be the best players in the world with nothing. And I can never understand why, like, companies are like, they put it, like, make pay to win, and they make obstacles like that where it's like you can't enjoy the game. You can't enjoy the building in a game without spending money that's about building. Like that is, to me, is a backwards concept. You offer people the amazing gameplay that they want, and then because they love you, they spend money on things like skins because they enjoy the game, because they think they're cool additions that aren't required. They're willing to do it. But I can never understand the like force. Like I will always spend $60 or so on a free game because I'm like, if I enjoy it. If it's a crappy game, then of course not. But in my opinion, like I'm in League of Legends, I played for a really long time before it was like utterly ruined by the community. And I played a lot of Valorant with friends, and I spent $60 to $150 on both of those games, probably at least over 100 at this point, because I put lots of hours into them. And I'm like, they earned it. Like they provided me with a constantly updated, amazing game that I really enjoyed, although the community that they didn't foster ruined the games for me eventually. But at the same time, like the rest of it was done really well. And I had a blast playing them, and I was like, I am willing to spend the money. If they would have found a way to make like buy the Lego skins, that's fine. Like make your character look like a Lego. You buy the little piece, like the figures. That would have been fine. Which you kind of do already, since they're pretty sure you have to pay for the Fortnite ones that are transferred over essentially. But like they would make enough money off of just that without like forcing people to buy building blocks in a game that's 100% about building. Like the survival and stuff is like a secondary aspect to the whole thing. It is not why people are buying that game or playing that game. And everyone spends a lot of money on games and stuff. So it's like, it's crazy to me to think that like they need more. Like that's the thought process. Kind of just blows me away. I have no problem spending money on a game if I really enjoy it and it's like well maintained. Like I would spend lots of money on Grounded. If they had DLCs and stuff, I would have purchased every DLC. If they had like every single thing, if they had things I could buy for microtransactions, I would support them. Because they've done everything they possibly can to support the community, and that's why it became such an amazing game. But I will never understand the opposite thinking of that. Anytime you start what you're doing with greed and making lots of money, you're dooming it to failure. So I really do think that Lego Fortnite could have been one of the best survival games ever made. It just had too much potential. I might go every other with these, now that I think about it. I like them, but they're really expensive. Not that hard to dupe, but I've just been waiting for a game like Lego Fortnite. I'm waiting for that like endless gameplay loop that like a Minecraft or like a Lego Fortnite could offer in terms of just building and replaying worlds and like the randomization of everything. I'm really excited. I really want something like that. But there's so few games that hit on it and do it well enough that I'm interested in playing them. Because as like making content, like I'd love the infinite content loop of having, it's like Valheim, but like visually I hate Valheim. Like I can't do the graphics of Valheim. They drive me insane. And the building was not very enjoyable for me. You could build really cool things. I didn't enjoy the mechanics of it very much. And the developers being slower than snails. Well, it seems like they've cranked out a couple things as of late, so they turned a new leaf. what I want is, I don't even want Grounded 2. I just want Grounded Survival. A Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibe survival game. And not Small Lands, because I hate the graphics of that, or the aesthetics as well. I want this styling in a procedurally generated world. And then it's just this insane additions of bugs, and it becomes less about the survival in his backyard and more about like exploring the world. Like I've already thought through some of it. I said this on a different stream, but it would be really, really cool to have survival. You shrink down, and then your goal is to travel to all these different and unlock these different like biomes essentially, and you're trying to like explore the world, similar into the movie Downsizing, where they like shrink everyone because we're using too many resources, so they shrink people down to live in smaller communities because one single piece of food can like feed the entire city or community. Like a cookie can feed thousands of people. And I'm like, you could travel or teleport or even just explore different states in the US or whatever. Like the biomes essentially become similar to Minecraft or whatever. They just sort of blend into each other and are added on with jungle biomes and all this different stuff. Not that it has to be like a specific thing, but then you're just like exploring and surviving and like testing these new biomes that get added. Some kind of cool exploration world. All right, we got those done. Question is, how do I want to light the in? I don't think I like the green. Yeah, the green's cool, but it's also overkill. Matt Damon, exactly. Something like that would be freaking cool. But more in a survival aspect, not just like there's already communities made. Like you're building, the base building could be this like take on building these areas for people to survive in these like hubs. There's so many interesting ideas you could do with it. I don't think they would leave the story per se. If they did do a Grounded 2, I think they'd have a very difficult time like just completely voiding the story and doing a procedurally generated thing. But if they did franchise this like they had originally discussed, could be very interesting. Could get super cool. And I got many ideas that would be really fun, but... And I mean, even like most people are really interested in the idea of like going to Australia or whatever. Like, I mean, yeah, anything that's an addition, as long as it's got replayability, I'm in. As long as it's got building, I'm in, honestly, but... Infinite content loots. Have you seen Solar Opposites? I don't think so. Doesn't sound familiar. Boom. Alright, so we got a lot of this done. Most of the lighting. It's really just getting the market stuff set up now. I'll have to look up Solar Opposites. I don't think I've ever even heard of it. Could. This was to be there. be centered. That is centered. Centered-ish. Look at that on totally different grid. Does look visually centered enough that I can live. But still. Yeah, not perfect. Could put one. That's what we do. Go. Got these quarter blocks, we might as well use them, right? That's dang near perfect. These are not even looking at that. Dude. So that would allow us to go up and over, which I think would. So we built a tower. Exactly the same other. Yeah, okay. Hurt my brain. May not even necessarily need to rise up further. And just the same thing. Don't really have to overthink it. Good. It's fine, it doesn't really matter. Cover all this. It never. And like you'll never know. Slightly different looking, but that's fine. Need to have that little piece for that. This I'm fine with though. That's me. This. These. Don't know what you're trying to support there, but sure. Jeez. Rick and Morty franchise. They're alien crash land on Earth, and the kids end up drinking people and putting them into a terrarium. That could be a funny way to do something with the whole ominent thing. Like, be an interesting way to make it a more like global style something. I don't even know what you'd call it. You got a globally ridiculous thing. I'll have to make this a little more interesting. I need to get it tied in here. Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of Rick and Morty or whole franchise all that well. Not because it isn't good, it's just never something I really got into myself. Do that. Like we need to do something like that. I won't mess with that. See how it goes. That's the. Since that all goes the same, this almost needs to be this. Each new shrunk person gets ravaged for supplies because it's the only new source from. That's some apocalyptic. Funny though. I could definitely see how that'd be a good episode, good little series with that whole character line. Oh wait. What do I do here? This is weird. The harder detail to get right. Guess that wasn't quite what I was thinking. This was. My brain's starting to fart. Grounded online, that would be pretty funny, dude. I'd be all good with some grounded online. That'd be pretty sick. Let's wait that goes down. That's like. Sounds good, Gary, man. Thanks for hanging out. Great rest of your night. Yeah, I'll probably be heading out here in a little soon. This little thing figured out. Got some work to do here, but could just tie this in like that. See how it goes. Be horrible. We'll see. Doesn't feel quite right. Really, it needs to be. Did the hay ever do to you? Got him. Technically, we just need the half for a little jank, but whatever. Alright, so if I just build these real quick, I can this thing. Make this easier to tell what the heck I'm doing. then it starts making more sense to do like that. Closer to the same. Tie it all in somehow, we'll see. Hate how that's just cut in half. Can't that be its own block? That's also there. That goes. Have to work with it, but not bad. It's a decent way to start tying this in. We just kind of have to figure out where we go from here. Almost feels like this just a big. That's close. That's not going to be anything, I don't think. Find a way to make this wall not boring, but that's a problem for future timber. This ends pretty well, though. Quite well. That feels good. When the spacing just works out, man. So nice. That should be there, I think. Yeah. Nothing better, though, when things just lay out properly. Pure luck. I will take it any day of the week. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We'll see what we do with that side. Okay, so should be one top this. That should be fine with that. Mimicking this exactly. No. Oh, up one. Okay. Told you to build. That's what's throwing me off, is that I'm a whole block off. Derp. This side. There we go. That makes it more correct. Yep, just like that. Okay. Now we're heading in the right direction. And this one will kind of do whatever. I don't know. Hard to say. And I just have to live with it at the end here. Perks, this stuff is just sort of like in its own little universe down here. One nice thing. Not like super worried about how this little stuff turns out because it's really not all that visible. Feel nice to build this out to where this sort of comes and is useful again, but be a bit weird. Standing, and I still have bad posture somehow today. Doing a lot better recently. It's just standing and streaming, but falling apart. Question, I have all this right. Looking like we're getting there. This all needs this then. Yeah, don't know about that yet, but we'll see. Naturally, that finishes one short as well. But we probably want to copy the styling as we go. Hope it all works. Actually, maybe that will meet with this wall like perfectly. That seems like the way to go. Just let it finish into the wall. Don't overthink it. What the heck do these do? Mentally memorize. Okay, that's what we're doing wrong. These. Wait. That's right. Oh, frick. I only made them 3 apart. Crap. That's the problem here. Ugh. Dang it. That's not ideal. Crap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, dang it. When the spacing almost works out, but you're just an idiot. I thought. Would have been way too convenient if it laid out perfectly. Let's be honest. And we're definitely going to want a chandelier on this side because why not? Why? Dang it. It's always such a bummer getting so close but so far on something like that. Get that all down here. Oars. Not much I can do about that, but it's always so much nicer when it just works. You don't have to do any weird little things. Not that you're going to really be able to see literally any of this, but you always hope that it just works out absolutely perfect. Well, with that, I want to get these built, and it is 10:30 here, so I'm going to call it after these are done. We dang near got the whole thing done over here. So close, but so far. But this build is turning out super cool. I'm really, really happy with kind of what we've come up with here. There was a moment where I was just totally lost on what to do with this whole like flat, massive thing, and it just was like not visually in my head making any sense, but this is already like freaking awesome. The little details I'm already really enjoying, and there's so much more stuff that's going to get put in here, so we have a lot of building to go, which I'm quite excited about now. Gotta love when builds start coming together and they start looking the way you're hoping. Or better, honestly. It's also not going to make sense. I have to see what to do here. It's going to get weird. Let's look other than this stupid thing. What's the, is there a quarter? It's the same thing, dang it. Well, I guess this is where a burr comes in, because the other thing looks stupid. Alrighty. Yeah, this is looking good. I have no clue what this is, but the fact that this is so centered and they're on completely different build grids currently, like, is working very well. A little bit of detailing to figure out, one thing to move, but I think we are headed in a very good direction right now with this whole thing. That being said, I will, as I continue building, of course, I'm going to call it here. Appreciate everyone hanging out tonight. Good stream. We will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. You are not currently part of the Discord. Make sure to join there. It's a great place to hang out, look at builds. I'm there every day, hanging out, answering questions, posting random stuff. But I appreciate everyone hanging out, and I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.